Joining us now, Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, you look at both of these families, your heart breaks for what's going on with these kids, right? The lawsuit says the school failed to follow the students' individualized education programs, or IEPs, which is what allegedly led to this abuse. We know it's important for schools to follow. What happens if they don't?
It's a lot can happen. Let's start with that. So these IEPs, these are individualized education programs, and these plans. I've worked with a number of families that have been in this situation that feel like the school failed them and failed to follow the plan, failed to create a plan, failed to do a number of things. But talking about just failing to follow the IEP, when you get an IEP created for a student, it is like a Fortune 500 company surrounding that student. It's like the epitome of wraparound services. So you have a counselor, you have the principal, you have the direct teachers, you'll have who will pull them out. You'll have like 7 to 10 people in the room all about that one student. And everyone is going through page by page looking at this IEP to ensure what? That everyone's on the same page. Folks are literally checking off boxes. I've sat in there with folks while they do this. They're checking off boxes to ensure, okay, do you get this? Do you know this? Do you need any more assistance? And then why they're making sure they do this is because there's dollars connected to a number of these things. You get special funding sent to some of these schools to ensure that they have the resources necessary to actually provide these programs and people for these students. And so if you're not following the IEP, it's a number of things that can happen. Specifically, funding can be cut. But then also you can subject yourself to lawsuits like in this situation. But lawsuits don't just pop up overnight. They typically come from lack of communication. Both of the parents in this story talked about how they tried to communicate with the school. They're trying to figure out what happened, and they're not getting a response. So typically when you don't get a response, most of the time you're going to get an attorney and attempt to try to file some legal action. That's kind of where we're at now. But not following an IEP is extremely troubling because it leads to situations like this where students are put in positions that the IEP is supposed to protect them from. Specifically, I look at it like it's a safety net. When they're, the folks are in any type of event, you're about to do something that's, a hard skill, you want to have something to protect you. That IEP protects these individuals from situations like ensuring that they have supervision constantly if you need that, ensuring that you're not put in a situation where you get physical harm, where you need cooling down periods. We covered a story like that a couple weeks back. But if you're not following that, if you're not aware of the plan, then you can lead to situations where students can be harmed and other students that aren't even in the plan can be harmed.
Particularly in that second situation with LeBou and her daughter where she was in the bathroom where she said not supposed to be mingling with kids, especially in that scenario. The first instance, though, where the young man had scrapes and cuts around his neck and on his face. Khalif, you mentioned a couple weeks ago we had a similar case. Is the school district, are they exempt when a teacher acts outside of how they normally would? In that case, putting their hands on the student, any teacher would know that's not okay.
Typically, the school would first say that, look, this employee, I said, stepped outside of the normal scope of employment. But however, the complaint would say no, they were in a teaching capacity, attempting to teach, and just didn't follow the plan, which would probably be no physical contact. I have history of doing this years ago, probably almost 25 years ago, where I was in Pennsylvania doing similar situation with individuals that had IEPs, sitting in the classroom with them, and I had to read these plans. I had to know exactly what was in there. And so if I had students that couldn't have any physical contact and other students may try to come around them and talk to them, I'd have to say, nope, they can't have any contact because this person is, separated. And the kids would recognize that, okay, you got a whole adult there supervising an assistant up there in that state. That's kind of how they did that. Here it's a little bit different, but it's the same approach. The school provides those same wraparound services.
We're out of time here, Khalif. Quickly, could a case like this force school districts to have more cameras or something like that so that parents and other people feel safer about, I want to see what's happening with my kid 24/7?
Cameras would be helpful, obviously, so you can see the full picture, but more staff would probably be the better, and that's what they're asking for, more folks to ensure that they properly supervise, and then making sure that people are aware of what the requirements of the IEP. So having a supervisor, having folks, most of the time it's going to be an assistant principal, having enough staff to properly utilize and do the things that are required. That's important.
All right, Khalif, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.